Okay, so my number one boycott is Nissan. Uh, Not as a car manufacturer, but as a dealership, I guess you would say. Uh, Actually, before we get into this, let me actually show you a story I came across while I was looking for Nissan's website. Okay, this is Nissan.com. I figured it would be Nissan's dealership website or their manufacturer website, but it's actually not. It's a website that is owned by uh, Mr. Uzi Nissan. He was born in Jerusalem. He's always used his family name for business. And, well, let me just show you his story. So this is Mr. Uzi Nissan's story. Nissan Motor Company sued Nissan Computer for trademark infringement, trademark dilution, and cyber squatting, seeking $10 million in damages. Now, this did happen over 10 years ago, but this is something you might want to know if you're looking at buying a Nissan vehicle. This is what kind of people you're looking at dealing with. I'll get to my story here in a minute, but I'm just going to read this real quick. My name is Uzi Nissan. I was born in Jerusalem, Israel. My father's last name was Nissan. His father's last name was Nissan, and so on. Nissan is a biblical term identifying the seventh month in the Hebrew calendar. The term also is Arabic for the month of April, and it gives some supporting articles if you care to look this up. I came into the U.S. in 1976 and have used my surname for 10 years to identify a number of business enterprises. The first was a Nissan foreign car in 1980. When I operated this business, I serviced different makes and models of foreign cars, including cars manufactured by Nissan Motor, back then known as Datsun. Contrary to the allegations by Nissan Motor, I did not choose to use my last name Nissan for my business in 1980 because of their name. At that time, they and their automobiles were known as Datsun and were not known as Nissan. In December 1987, I started an import-export business known as Nissan International. At that time, Nissan Motor was not well known as Nissan, but primarily as Datsun. As with the earlier business, I chose to use Nissan in my business name because it was my last name. And like I said, this guy gives supporting articles about all this. On May 14th, 1991, Nissan Computer Corporation, which is Mr. Uzi's company, was incorporated by the state of North Carolina. He says, I was then and still am the company president. I've used Nissan as part of my trade name in connection with the sale of computer hardware, computer maintenance, networking, computer training, and other consulting services related to computers. On June 4th, 1994, I registered the domain name Nissan.com and created a website to promote computer-related products and services on the internet. That's the website I just showed y'all. In July of 95, I obtained a service mark registration for Nissan and my logo from the state of North Carolina. On March 17, 96, I registered the domain name Nissan.net and began offering internet services, including dial-up connections and direct data connections to business. In another example of Nissan Motors flexing its corporate might, age-old eminent domain laws have been rewritten in Mississippi, allowing the state to take land and homes from local landowners for the sole private benefit of Nissan Motor. How the state of Mississippi was convinced to change these laws is unclear, but it is clear that local individuals are being deprived of their property rights so Nissan Motor Company can build its own plant. This is just ridiculous. If I would have known any of this, I would have probably never bought the Xterra that I have right now. Okay. Here are his updates. December 99, initial filing more than 5 years after registered Nissan.com. Legal action was instituted by Nissan Motor seeking $10 million in damages and to restrain me from the use of my family name for business purposes on the internet. $10 million. That is so ridiculous of an amount. Nissan could not have possibly lost that much money because they didn't have the domain name Nissan.com. That's just stupid. In 99, less than half the population didn't even have internet yet. April 2002, first round of summary judgments. The court ruled on summary judgment motions as follows. Cyber squatting claim in Nissan Computer's favor, that was Mr. Uzi's company. Infringement on non-auto related claim in Nissan Computer's favor. Infringement on auto related claim in Nissan Motors' favor. Dilution claim was sent to trial. Nissan Motors' intention was to make this case as expensive as possible for me was evident from the beginning. Undoubtedly, the notion that my company and me might be forced into bankruptcy rather than fight for my name, given the great expense, must have been a consideration. As if the financial burden incurred by me and Nissan Computers wasn't enough, Nissan Motor filed a lawsuit against the Internet Center Incorporated, a corporation with 3 shareholders in which I'm the majority shareholder. The Internet Center Incorporated did and does not utilize the word Nissan in any way. Yeah, like I said, people, if you're thinking about buying a Nissan car, this is what kind of company you got to look to dealing with. In September 2002, the second round of summary judgment. The previous court rulings did not end this case. Nissan Motor filed a second round of summary judgment motions trying and has been successful to get the court to deprive me of my right to a jury trial. The court surprisingly changed its attitude on the issue and changed the relevant date for fame from 1991 to 94. Found that no reasonable jury could find that Nissan was not famous by 1994. Found that Nissan Computer diluted Nissan Motors' trademark. Found that the publication of information about this lawsuit, the comments made by many people on this site, and my efforts to bring this issue to the public actually tarnished Nissan Motors' trademark. Well, if you don't want people knowing what you're doing, you shouldn't be doing it. That's all I have to say about that. If you want to try to rule the world, you shouldn't get mad when somebody exposes you. That's all I have to say. Many legal experts view this case not as a law-breaking case, which is what it should be, but as a law-making case. The court indicated that certain aspects of this case may be creating new law as well. Nissan Motor is now asking the court to transfer Nissan Motor is now asking the court to transfer Nissan.com to them entirely. The potential loss of a domain name in this fashion may set the wrong precedent for future cases and will open the door for any deep-pocket corporation to do the same. This is the world we live in, people. This may become the law of the land by being solely based on the law of the jungle and could affect you or someone you know. This is why we need to, expose stuff like this right here. December 2002, final injunction. The district court issued a final judgment allowing Nissan Computer to keep its Nissan.com and Nissan.net domain names, but restricted our rights to do the following: posting commercial content at Nissan.com and Nissan.net, posting advertising or permitting advertising to be posted by third parties at Nissan.com or Nissan.net. So yeah, let's take all their money away. That's illegal, is really all you can say about that. posting disparaging remarks or negative commentary regarding Nissan Motor Company Limited or Nissan North America Incorporated at Nissan.com and Nissan.net. Well, yeah, I can understand that. Placing on Nissan.com or Nissan.net links to other websites containing commercial content, including advertising, and placing on Nissan.com or Nissan.net links to other websites containing disparaging remarks or negative commentary regarding Nissan Motor Company Limited or Nissan North America. After reviewing this and other rulings of District Court, we believe that the only practical option was to appeal. One of the reasons for the appeal was that we and other experts considered the injunction to be parts of other rulings to be a clear violation of our First Amendment rights, which is exactly what it is, as it is to every American citizen's constitutional rights. Okay. So in October 2003, appeal initial motion. Nissan Computer filed its opening brief to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals addressing the District Court's rulings on the trademark dilution, trademark infringement, and the final injunction. It's a long brief, but will allow you to better understand the merits of this case. January 2004, Nissan Motor Company filed a consolidation brief opposing Nissan Computer's opening brief and a cross appeal on the trademark infringement, the final injunction, requesting the court to force transfer of Nissan.com to them. Well, basically, all they really want is that website name. Nissan Computer filed a consolidated brief opposing Nissan Motor Company's cross appeal and replying to their opposition. August 2004, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals has issued a ruling reversing the case and remanding it back to District Court. In a published opinion, the appellate court rejected Nissan Motors' cross appeal and reversed the District Court ruling against Nissan Computer on dilution and the broad scope of the final injunction. Not to our surprise, Nissan Motor filed a motion for rehearing by the Ninth Circuit's panel and rehearing by all the Court of Appeals judges. On September 2004, the Ninth Circuit Court issued a ruling denying Nissan Motors' motion for rehearing and a rehearing in bank. December 2004, Nissan Motor filed a petition for writ of certiorari, I don't know how you pronounce it, to the U.S. Supreme Court seeking a review of the appellate court ruling on the infringement and First Amendment issues. April 2005, the U.S. Supreme Court has issued an order denying Nissan Motor Company's petition for a writ of certiorari. Thus, the dilution claim, which is the only remaining issue, was sent back to the District Court. January 2007, Nissan Motors' intention to deprive us of a jury trial was evident from the beginning. They always felt that they have a better chance of prevailing in front of a judge rather than a jury, which it's everybody's right to have a trial by a jury of their peers. And peers is the most important word in there. A lot of people will tell you it's your right to have a trial by jury, but they leave off the last part intentionally. I'll get to that in a later video. In the 11th hour, after all their efforts to do so was unsuccessful, they pulled their last ace and dropped their $10 million damage claim in exchange for a bench trial rather than a jury trial. Okay, so now March 2007, the 4-day bench trial occurred between March 27th and March 30th to determine Nissan Motor Company's claim on dilution, permanent injunction, for dilution, permanent injunction, and reply to infringement, and we are now waiting for the court's ruling on these matters. September 2007, the court issued a ruling addressing Nissan Motor Company's alleged claim in our favor. Found that Nissan Computer did not dilute Nissan Motor Company's mark, denied Nissan Motor Company's request for permanent injunctions. We're still waiting for the court to issue a final judgment. January 2008, motion for attorney's fees. Nissan Motor has been unrelenting in its lawsuit against us, and despite that they lost, they subsequently filed a motion asking the court to award them millions of dollars in attorney's fees. Really? I mean, that's all I can say. That is really. They filed this lawsuit, and now they want money because they can't win. They're the one that chose to spend this millions of dollars in attorney's fees to try and beat this man out of his 2 websites. February 2008, the court issued a ruling addressing these remaining issues. Nissan Motor is not entitled to attorney's fees. Nissan Computer is entitled to costs under Rule 68. The court ordered Nissan Motor Company to pay $58,000 as cost under Rule 68. This is less than 2% of what the cost was to defend this case. Now, I don't know if this is actually true, but I do know that attorneys are not cheap, and judging from the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, probably twice that many times. There probably 24 times that someone actually had to show up to court. In this case, this guy's is well, it was well over $58,000, I'm sure. Like I said, I'm not disputing him on this, but it gives you a good idea of what kind of society we live in, where the big corporations think they can run over the average person. And it still goes on. It says you would think this case is over, but really it isn't. Nissan Motors trademark registration. Nissan Motors attempting to obtain a federal trademark registration for computers and computer peripherals. Among other classes of goods and services, we feel that Nissan Motor in this action is staging a future case against us in the computer and peripherals market. We are left with no other course of action but to oppose this registration, which I highly condone this man's actions. He is correct in everything that he's doing here, or that he's posted that he's doing. Public awareness of this unacceptable corporate behavior is crucial to eradicating it, and we're asking that you take a stand and make a difference on this issue. And that's exactly what I'm making this video about. Your collective voice is more compelling than the lobbying power of corporate giants, and it is a voice that cannot be ignored. Together we can make a difference and can help keep our freedom intact for us, for our children, and for our grandchildren. Take a stand and make a difference. And this is what I'm hoping to do with my making of these videos. I want people to see exactly what kind of companies these companies are.